A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Of course, on the show tonight, we'll be talking about the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, the chances of the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. We'll talk about, of course, the Abridged League and looking at the teams that will be making it to the continent, the ones that have the chance of still making it, and the ones that have qualified for the Super 6, that is. All right, and also we'll look at the English Premier League and everything surrounding all of the major sporting events across the world. It's going to be a swell package, so we encourage you to sit back, relax, as we take you on a trip across the money-spinning world of sports. Usually, I'm not alone. My partner, my colleague, Osno Konakman, will join me as we take a trip on the money-spinning world of sports. While we wait for Austin to join, let me quickly introduce my partner in the Lagos studio. Shegun Vincent joins me as we take this trip together. Greetings, Shegun. Yeah. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Yemi. It's good to be back again on the show on a Friday edition. Mid-May edition. A lot of things happening in the world of sports. As we were discussing before the show, as guys, what happened on Wednesday. These are little things we're discussing about on the show tonight, and then just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, let's dive straight into it. Let's start with the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. That's one tournament we're yet to win, and of course we're hoping Laramboso and his boys will do us proud in that one. Let's give to you the fixtures for Saturday and on Sunday. Of course, our hearts, minds with the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. Let's go to the screen now and show you what those fixtures will be like at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, which begins in Argentina. And of course, very interesting fixtures. Okay, we'll get to it in a bit, because what we have is not it right now. But of course, we'll get to that point where we'll be seeing it on the screen. But let me run through it for you while we're trying to work that out. You have Guatemala will be up against New Zealand. The United States will be up against Ecuador. Argentina up against Uzbekistan, and Fiji up against Slovakia. All of those matches will be played on Saturday. But of course, I'm very sure, Shegu, all of us, including you, will be more interested in what is going to happen on Sunday. And on Sunday, what do you have? Israel will take on Colombia. You have Nigeria up against the Dominican Republic, and of course Italy up against Brazil, Senegal up against Japan. Our viewers will have to forgive us if we start with Nigeria, because that's where our hearts and minds are. At this level, you don't know much about the opposition. Probably apart from what your scouts are able. Sometimes you rely on pedigree. You get to the tournament, you just realize the team that you thought was strong is not strong. The one you thought was not strong turns out to be strong. But what are your expectations?
When it comes to the under, there's not too much information as regards teams. But one of the idea of you having your scouts, your coaching team, coaching staff, it's not that they should do their very best in their homework in analyzing players, as good as the talent is, analyzing players, analyzing how they react, analyzing their play, their strengths, their weaknesses, how they play, style of play, mode of play, and all of that. But I believe that this is a competition that we are yet to win in recent times. And last time we had, I think we came second. And at this
2005.
We had likes of Mikel. Like I always said on this show, that when it comes to under competition, aside from winning the competition, there's also been a level of career progression, both across the ladder into the Super Eagles national team, and for the advantage of players' career into playing into Europe or playing in quote unquote better clubs, better pay, better branding, etc. But that being said, I feel like Nigeria playing against the Dominican Republic has a chance. I know that the biggest opponents or the biggest players who we would technically be scared of. When I mean scared of, I don't mean scared as regards from a point of fear. I mean scared of like their household name when it comes to winning competition. Talk about Argentina, talk about Brazil. They get the best of talents. You talk about Spain. You talk about these are countries that have very good talent when it comes to the other competition. But I do feel like let's take it a step at a time. Let's see how we play against them. Then we can probably on Sunday. Then from there, hopefully get the result result, and let's say I pans out for them in the second game and the third game, and hopefully we probably get to the final if all things really call and things go according to the plan of the coaching crew or the coaching staff. But you know, football can be football. It's like biscuits. You don't know when to crack, and then it's not all about talent too. You know, you need elements of luck. You need certain level of tactical prowess. You cannot rely on luck, tactical prowess. All these things, emotions will determine whether
everything has to go in your favor.
Yes, go in your favor. Even like you know, there's a particular coach that is always blaming the weather, blaming the pitch. You know that coach.
All right. So what you've seen are the fixtures Saturday and Sunday. Of course, Shegun started by looking at what's going to happen on Sunday, the one that has Nigeria. All right, my partner is ready now. Austin Okon-Akpan joins us now as we take this trip together. Greetings to you, Austin. It's good to do this together. And of course, we've started. And where we are now is with the Flying Eagles.
Spotty greetings, Yemi, and of course our viewers joining us from different parts of the world. Yeah, I've been following. Good to see that the Under-20 World Cup is upon us. And what a story with the last-minute arrangement to take it to Argentina. But we're glad that the Flying Eagles are there now. And you know the story of age-grade competition and Nigeria, particularly at the Under-20 level, where we're still looking for some level of, you know, remarkable performance, if I can put it that way. You know, for Coach Ladan Boso and these boys, they need to show that they had, you know, vital lessons from the Africa Championship that we're watching right now. I thought they were unfortunate not to make it to the final. I thought they started, you know, picking up vital lessons at crucial stage of the competition. And those are the changes I want to see at this competition in Argentina. It's good that they're starting against Dominican Republic, so people will not judge their first opponent with name because people don't know much about Dominican Republic and their football. But at the under-20 level, where it's all about talent development, I've been hearing a lot of conversations, arguments. People are saying that players should be established at 20. And I'm saying, yes, they will have the foundation and everything, but you're still learning at 20. They don't come, Messi and Ronaldo don't come in every generation. If you even take a look at Nigeria, some of the players that you have from the under-17 that go to the under-20, how many of them even make it to the Super Eagles? So I would still say no pressure, but I want Ladan Boso and these boys to prove to us that they gain vital lessons from the CAF Under-20 Cup of Nations. I want them to start strong against Dominican Republic, prove a point against Italy and Brazil, and advance at the competition. Let's not take our eyes off the balls. It's still for development, you know, so whatever happens, let's find a way that I'll put together good programs for the under-17 boys that just, you know, came back from Constantine and these guys that are going to the Under-20 World Cup now in Argentina.
All right. Okay, so that we can have a robust conversation, let's also bring in a well-respected voice when we talk sports in Nigeria. Koji Jacky joins us now as we continue with this conversation. Koji, greetings to you. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Always a pleasure. Good evening.
All right, let's just dive straight into it. I don't know why I always like asking you this, but let me say, what are your expectations? Let me see if it is different from what some of us expect from the under-20 team. Some of us feel, oh, Nigeria has not won this before. Ghana has won it before. Maybe this will be the time we will change that. But let me not put words into your mouth. Your expectations as the campaign begins in Argentina.
Well, it's not about winning it. It's about putting up a good show in terms of player development. If we roll back to Saturday night, we saw what Mutio and the other guys did. Post 89, we saw how they developed. Mutio played for the national team, played for the World Cup. 2 World Cups. 94, 98, won the out. Again, you go back and you see the degree of competitiveness in the team. And in terms of players now, players in the team, matches they played. I've always believed that you don't take non-league players to the under-20 World Cup.
Okay.
You don't populate a team with non-league players to the under 20. The under 20 is just the next stage to the post team. That's the Super Eagles. We saw what happened at the African Championship. Eventually, we had to settle for a bronze. So that's my fear. That's my fear, really. I mean, you have the group where you have Brazil and Italy. Players in those teams are coming from tested teams in Brazil. Same with Italians, teams in Italy. You're going to see players from Syria. It might not be a first team player, but then players in Syria, players in Syria B. But then players who are bringing somehow will start playing again. So the players who are bringing to the party, can be compared in terms of the level of experience we've had, even at Brazil and Italy.
All right. So let me just quickly go. Thanks, Koji, for your thoughts on that one. And if I want to take it from what Koji said, I want to go to Austin now. Give the floor to him now. There's this temptation to want to overhaul the team. Some feel if you in terms of overhaul, what do you do? Do you replace everybody? Do you bring some? That's always the dilemma. We've seen them at the under-20 AFCON. So what do? Do you just discard all of them, bring professionals? It's a dilemma. You don't want full-fledged professionals come and start playing under-20. So where's the progression if you do that? Then again, you don't want to take some boys to get badly beaten and embarrass the country. So you're in between the devil and the deep blue sea. So what's the choice? What do you do? Especially since we all agree that something needs to be done to that team that went to the under-20 AFCON.
That's why we should be sincere. I mean, this is what I've always been talking about. That's why we shouldn't shy away from the truth that it's all about development. But I totally agree with what Koji talked about, that at the under-20 level, you should have purpose. You should see some level of progress. That you're taking players to the World Cup, we should be able to say that this guy, to an extent, is playing professional football. Not as established as you'd expect them to be, but you should say from under 17 till this under 20, this guy has achieved this, particularly with league football. I totally agree with that. We cannot overhaul a team at the under 20 level because they didn't do well, particularly when you're going to the World Cup of this magnitude, So we said when they played at the under 20 AFCON in Egypt, we said we saw some positives, but there were also negatives. And that some of those negatives, as a team, they can talk to themselves and be fine. Remember, they were coming from the WAFU B where they were champions, and we liked the progression. And then when they started the under-20, because of how they started against Senegal, we said there were vital lessons. But we could tell that Coach Ladan Bosso and his team lacked some technical discipline. They were not tactical, particularly in reading the game and making changes. That was why people were calling, you need to replace this player, and I was saying no, because what super duper player do you want to bring from the under 20 level that will be a game changer like an Osimhen or Wilfred Ndidi that you bring into the team and then there'll be changes? You need to build, and you need to build purposefully, and that's what we keep saying when we say pay attention to the grassroots, pay attention to developmental football, give attention to league football. How many teams can even boast of a team B in the MPFL? How many? We don't even have reserve leagues. All of those things are part of what you need to consider in your 360 degrees branding for grassroots football development. That's what we lack. So we cannot say, because the team didn't do well at the 8th grade level, because I'm hearing those sort of stories, not even with the under 17 that didn't do well in Algeria. They're back home now. Instead of us to sit down, analyze the competition, and fix the mistakes. People are saying Coach Everybody is not good. But if you had gone there now and maybe make it to the final or win it, we'll be only in Coach Scientific. But you see, it's what you sow, you reap. So we need to go back to the basics. Right there is delicate, and that's where development lives. So, yeah, when we start doing these things, I'm sure we'll be ready to take our football to the next level. So, which the Flying Eagles are the best at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup? I'm confident that they'll have a good start against Dominican Republic. And as I said earlier, prove a point against Italy and Brazil. Let's get on with the show now. Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're getting ready for the final day of the Nigeria Premier Football League. And what a story this season. The league really did get us talking. For instance, do you know that a major criticism of the league is that we don't have away wins? Let me tell you this, just in case you don't know. We've been having away wins every match days, except match day 8 in the league. But some people that don't follow now, we say, oh, the league is one-sided. Bendel Insurance are unbeaten in 17 matches. And I know that Shegun Visa wants to jump on this, but let me go back to Koji. Koji, what a story this season. Is it one that we'll live to remember in the MPFL?
Certainly, a lot to remember in this particular season. You just mentioned Bendel Insurance. Coming from the lower division, and no one expected this from them. 17 games unbeaten. I mean, even when the second round, when they kept drawing matches, about 5 games, they were not losing, even away. They were not losing. They were drawing this game. So it shows the pattern in the team, what the coach have been able to put together. But again, for Bendel Insurance, they also need to be careful. I mean, in the first round, they were like a house on fire. The second round, it looked like the fire was still the way they play, and so they kept picking points. So the good thing for Insurance was the fact that they got a lot of points in the first round. You know, some teams even have more points than Insurance in the second round, but then they did the job.
Okay, we're having problem with Koji's audio. It's going to fix that. I'll come back. Let me just run through.
Just a lot of teams in the first round.
Koji, I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you while we try to fix your audio. Match day 18 fixtures in the Nigeria Premier Football League. It's the final day of the regular season before we get into the Super 6. Some teams have qualified for the Super 6, but we're waiting for the final day to actually conclude formalities. Shooting Stars will take on Eimba. And Eimba, for me, they've been fantastic in the second phase of the season. Remo Stars, another team that has done so well, will take on Kwara United. That's in Group A. In Group A also, it's Gombe United hosting Aqua United. Must-win game for Aqua United. Also must-win game for Eimba and Remo Stars. Relegated Nasarawa United will play for Pride against Bendel Insurance, and relegated El Kanemi Warriors will host Plateau United. That's Group A in the Nigeria Premier Football League. In Group B, Rivers United, I was going to say Rivers Angels. Rivers United, they're back on top of the table after completing their remaining games that were outstanding. They will take on Rangers. Rangers, tough season for Rangers, but somehow they've been able to survive to stay in top flight football. Lobby Stars, a pretty decent team, held on to the top till Rivers United ended their continental assignment and then took back their leadership. Abia Warriors will take on surprise package of the season for me and a lot of football followers in Nigeria, Doma United. Let's see what Doma United can do. Their last game, they lost 2-0 to Rivers United. Sunshine Stars, picking it up when they needed to, will host relegated Dakada FC. While Bayelsa United will take on Niger Tornadoes. They win this one and something else happens somewhere, they might just stay in the league. Let me go to Lagos in 1 minute. Okay, we have the playoff teams already. Teams that have said, oh, okay, we're doing just fine. Bendel Insurance, Rivers United, and Lobby Stars. We're going to have the Super 6 to determine who will become champions of the league. Relegated teams, El Kanemi Warriors, Dakada, Nasarawa United, and Wiki Tourists. So I was thinking that Bayelsa United could still be in some form of danger, but apparently with this, they are not, because we've got the 4 teams that will be relegated. Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll give it to the Lagos studio. I'm sure they've got so much to talk about the MPFL. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. We've been having some insights into what's going on in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Just Austin reeled it out, the teams that have been relegated, the teams that have already made the Super Six, but there are still some slots to be taken. But Shegun is still with me, and we still have Koji with us. But Shegun, let me quickly, you went nodding away at some things that Austin was saying, but I know you have the fixtures in front of you. It's the last day. There's really not much to play for, apart from those trying to make the Super Six.
Yeah, there's not much to play for. I feel like those are set game. That's Shooting Stars and Imba.
That's where there's something in.
Yes, Remo Stars against Kwara United, Gobe United against Aqua United. That's Aqua, Remo, and Imba are fighting for the main slots in the Group A. And of course, in the Group B, we have Abia Warriors against Doma, Sunshine Stars against Dakada. But I think that the surprise of the season is Managed Insurance. They have been unbeaten throughout the season. I can't remember last time a team have done unbeaten in the MPFL. Although at a point in time they had this relegation form because they kept drawing like okra soup, drawing the game. Although we would say it wasn't intentional because I had a conversation with CCR one time that because they had to come back for some games, there's sometimes they had this crowd issue at some point in time that affected the game, and all of that. But I feel like they've done a wonderful job, excellent job in getting to the last day, automatic qualification, picking on the first slot at least, so you get to pick quote unquote the weaker seed like they do in NBA. The first to pick the weaker seed. That's a wonderful one. Rivers United, there are no newcomers. No pushover, there are no newcomers that gotten the job, but Lobby Stars too, had a couple of rough patches here and there, but they picked their slot. I was a little shocked that they figured their slots. Looking at what has happened in their group, the likes of Rangers have been there too, we thought that we'll have probably picked the side of them, but it is what it is for them. And let's say it pans out for the Super Six and the guys that will come out and qualify by this weekend will know who is who and who will be facing who, and then we'll just see it pans out and how they play the Super Six. But I feel like Benin Insurance have done a wonderful job. Rivers United, excellent job after the crashing out from the playing of the continental stage. At least this is a good one to at least more like make Bele sweet,
in local palace. Okay,
palace.
all right. Let me go to. Hopefully, we'll have sorted out our issues with the audio now. Let me go to Koji Ojekere and talk about the remaining slots left for the Super Six. It's giving us an overview already, but let us take something from your expertise. The teams you think would get the remaining slots in the playoffs. Okay, it does appear.
Okay, thanks. Let's start with Group A, where Benin Insurance have taken on their job. Then you look at the Imba, Remo, Aqua. Two of these will join, one will drop out. Aqua is playing at Gobe United. Kwara is playing at Remo Stars. Kwara is safe anyway. They have no business with this. So Remo will join. And the battle is in Ibadan. We're shooting an Imba play. At the last time, both teams, the preseason tournament, Imba shot. But Shooting shot Imba to win that. So it's going to be a big one. For Imba to win at Shooting Stars, then it must be something, they must put up a spectacular performance like they did in their last game anyway, beating Gombe 5-0. Is that possible now? A point from there will take them to 32. If Remo will beat Kwara Gombe and win, they get to 32 also, then that means goal difference now determine one who gets through. From either Imba and Aqua, because knowing that Remo will get their 3 points over Kwara United and make it 33, and they are safe in there. So it's going to be between Imba and Kwara Aqua. I think that draw that Aqua played against Nasarawa at home is part of what has put Aqua in this situation. Then you roll back again. Sometimes you want to look at the first one and say, where did we make mistakes? You go to the first one again, and I remember that in the very first game, Benin Insurance beat Aqua 2-0 at home. So all that is what Aqua will be wondering where they got it wrong. And they're already out of the Federation Cup. So it means all energies will have to go up in this game. But can they beat Gombe United? That's a different thing entirely. Group A. Then coming to Group B, the big game for me in Group B is Sunshine will beat Dakada and do the job to get them in the playoff. But then the biggest game for me is in Umuahia, where Abia Warriors will play Joma. Both teams have a chance to get in the Joma is third now. Abia is fifth. But Joma is on 26 points. Abia on 24 points. If Abia gets a win, then Abia jumps to 27, and that takes them in along. So it becomes difficult because you're going to have two teams here. We already have Rivers and Lobby. So one of Joma, Sunshine, and Abia Warriors will have to join them. That's where it becomes tricky. Looking at it, it looks like Sunshine will be the team to join Rivers and Lobby in that group.
All right, Coach Ojekere, we want to thank you for your time. Network wasn't really very friendly, but we thank you for your inputs on the show tonight. All right, I think we're done with the domestic league. Shaka has been waving his hand. Maybe I'll just allow you to say something in a minute.
I really want to see. I'm looking at the Group A. Will Remo pick the tickets? Will Remo pick the? I really want Remo to pick the ticket. I've followed their story. I think Austin's a big fan. I know you're a big fan too. How although they crashed up on the continental stage, really disappointing how they did because they were very, privately run club. They have everything that it takes for them to move on to the next level. Like Vendresa, although Vendresa's case is a bit more different from Remo, but I think Remo they've shown a lot of progress. Equipment, the coaching, how the club is being run, and I'm really, really very happy that at least they're able to touch the hem of garment of Jesus Christ, you know what?
All right.
I really hope that they do book their tickets.
Okay, all right. We'll see. All right, let's move on the show quickly because we're pressed for time. Let's travel to England now. That's the base of our colleague, Austin Okona Akbar. But let's quickly talk about the English Premier League. We look at Saturday and Sunday's fixtures. Shegu will give us his thoughts. Then, of course, Austin will help us with some of the things that are probably happening from the back. Of course, you're seeing Arsenal in the picture. There's really nothing to play for. It's done and dusted. City will be winning the league with just one win. But fixtures, let's talk about fixtures if we can quickly. On Saturday, you have Tottenham will be taking on Brentford. Brentford reeling from what just happened to Ivan Toney. You have Bournemouth take on Manchester United. Fulham will take on Crystal Palace. Liverpool will take on Aston Villa. Wolverhampton Wanderers will take on Everton. Nottingham Forest will take on Arsenal. So Arsenal will be up against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest not safe yet. And that's it on the screen. On Sunday, let's talk about Sunday. You have West Ham will take on Leeds. You have Brighton taking on Southampton, and you have Manchester City taking on Chelsea. And it looks like that's where they might be picking up the title. Talking about Manchester City. Before we get scheduled to get his thoughts, let's listen to the Manchester City manager talking about Pep Guardiola. Since he's going for the title, it's not leaving anything to chance. He will just want to win it straight away. Let's listen to Pep Guardiola. I'll come back for more Sports Tonight.
We are satisfied to be able to play final Champions League, but it's non-stop. So now is coming the most difficult thing at the end. All the tennis players say to serve to win Wimbledon in the last. It's the most difficult one. So, on Sunday we have the game is in our hands to win the most important competition. So Premier League is the most important because it's 10-11 months every week, and then we are lucky to have the chance to finish at home with our people, and we have to take it. Chelsea deserve it. In my mind. And I would like to feel that we have to win to be champion. This is what you have to think right now in that moment. So we cannot control Nottingham. So in our mind it doesn't matter what happened in the game in Nottingham. We have to do our job, is win our game. The last one is the most difficult one to do it because there are a lot of emotions and many things, and you have to control it and have to be focused. We cannot be distracted right now at all. We will not forgive ourselves and we will distract in something like it's not what we have to do, because we focus on every single game that we have until the end of the season to try to finish well.
All right. He's been called many names, but one of the things he does well is always showing respect to the opponent, and he does that before it takes you to the cleaners. Pep Guardiola, master of the art of winning games. Shegun, we've said so many things about this guy, and I think it's unfair. And Austin will join us in this conversation. I think the league is done. There's no point.
It's done. If Arsenal lose the game, they've won the league. They don't have to kick it anymore.
But is it fair when people say this guy is a fraud, or when people say he has the materials, anybody can coach those teams? Is it really fair when people say things like that?
It's not fair when you do that, because let us take our mind back to the early 90s. Man U were once called the big boy club. They broke the reckless, they broke the windows over and over, and they go from Blackburn. They bought the best of the best. They bought Amsterdam. Nobody ever said anything. A lot of those things come from, one, recency bias, secondly, jealousy, thirdly, this man is breaking records for fun. His team are scoring goals. They are breaking records. They are defeating teams like as if they are defeating the team. As if they are. So people start to, when you are successful, people start to come up with all these scribbles. Don't forget that likes of Sachi them, they didn't have to manage average teams. The Bosque won the Champions League twice in 3 years for Real Madrid. He won the World Cup. Nobody ever said, oh, he's a fraud, oh, he's managing this, managing that. It took a near-ending Barcelona. That Barcelona were on trophless for 2 years, that they barely qualified for the Champions League that season. He voted out likes of Deco, Ronaldinho. They didn't like him. They didn't like his style. They didn't like what he was doing. He was almost sad because according to the books that were written, he was the third candidate ahead of Valverde and Mourinho. And they picked him ahead of those guys, and he was even almost lost his job at that point in time until that 6-2 win. This guy is winning games, is improving players. One of the key things you must use to know a great manager is that the players improve.
All right, let me pause you and listen to Austin. I'm very sure Austin still wants to listen to Frank Lampard, because that's somebody we have to say a thing or two before we close the show. But Austin, you see these guys, and you have Frank Lampard in your picture, and you also heard us talk about Pep Guardiola. Give us your 2 cents.
Well, let me begin with Frank Lampard. You know, there's this jest conversation going on right here in the UK. Arsenal fans are saying that Frank Lampard will become an Arsenal legend if he can beat Manchester City for them on Sunday, you know. So we're just waiting to see what they can do. But I think it's pretty much in Manchester City's hands now. A little bit of statistics here, me and Shegun V said. At the start of April, this is May the 19th today, at the start of April, Manchester City trailed Arsenal with 8 points. 8 points. And why people criticize Pep Guardiola, I just laugh, because the difference between those other teams and Man City is the mentality. Arsenal dropping points against West Ham when they shouldn't, dropping points against Southampton when they shouldn't,
against Liverpool,
even losing their last leave the Liverpool on. They had a terrible record going to Anfield. So even getting that draw at Anfield was the first point in about 7 seasons. So that's the one that could win for the Gunners, because they've been poor going to Liverpool. But when you have the league title in sight and you can't beat West Ham, you can't beat Southampton, and they lost the way they lost their last match to Brighton, then you can't contest for the league title. Whatever happens tomorrow, City will say to themselves that they just need to beat Chelsea and then become champions, because now they've got their eyes on the biggest prize in Europe, which is the UEFA Champions League, and they want to win that trophy. So give Pep Guardiola his flowers. This is a man that won the league title last season without a striker. And then they brought Haaland, and people say, oh, will he be able to make Haaland the kind of player that he will be to justify the money? He's coming from a small Dortmund. Haaland has scored 52 goals this season. The masterpiece of Pep Guardiola needs to be studied, you know. Say whatever you want to say. Manchester United have got almost the same quality of players. How are they doing this season? So Pep Guardiola knows his team. He's a hard worker. You need to also praise the work ethics of Manchester City. You can tell that they are determined, results-oriented, and they play purposeful football. On a good day, if they play their pressing game, no team in Europe can match this team. So let's listen to Frank Lampard. Arsenal fans said, win for us on Sunday and become our club legend.
Well, I don't know about the greatest. I think that's a hard debate, but they're clearly a fantastic team. and they have been for a good while now. And so, huge credit to that consistency of doing it year in, year out. I think on those levels, I think they probably are coming very close to the greatest team. And obviously, the cherry on top is to win and keep winning and win Champions Leagues, etc. And the form they're in at the minute, you wouldn't want to bet against them on anything. So, huge credit to the club. I worked there for a year. I understand it quite well, and the manager and the players, because it's a really strong and smooth machine. So full respect for them. I think they are the best team in the world, and is it good for English football? Yeah, why not? Because I think you have to push the standards of the league, and others have to react to that. I've got a huge respect from the players. A player I tried to bring to Chelsea the first time I was here, and was really keen to get him here. Obviously that couldn't happen. But his level at that point was very clear as well. We played against him in a pre-season game at Salzburg, and he was fantastic. So credit to him. I love seeing players at that level. I love seeing players with that personality and level of hunger to play and be the best, which he's proven himself to be.
So wait to see what Manchester City versus Chelsea will give us on Sunday. But first, the Gunners, to stay a bit relevant with what they've achieved this season, they need to beat Nottingham Forest tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, that's also a very tricky game for the Gunners.
It is. Yeah, as we prepare to go. I mean, Nottingham Forest don't want to get relegated. Arsenal are low on confidence, whichever way you want to put it. And even the most optimistic Arsenal fan would agree, in spite of the blows of recent, that they've punched above their weight. Nobody thought they were going to be here. But the painful part for most of the regulars was, why did you come this close, only to go and throw it away? I have a feeling that they will lose again tomorrow. I don't know why.
They had no looking at what happened last season. Look at what happened. We all knew at some point, like if you all knew, a great football minds and people that follow football honestly will know that we're having an ascendancy.
We won't be able to have a robust conversation on that. But quick one, do you think Arsenal will lose tomorrow?
Not at first. They are a fortress technically at home. You know, they drew against. I think they beat Liverpool. They drew against Man City. I feel like it's going to be a tough game. Not at first are fighting for their lives. Arsenal are fighting for their lives. But the confidence is down for Arsenal. I feel like Arsenal will get many of a draw in that game.
Okay, all right. Let's.
And for Chelsea, they will do a promo.
Okay, Shego is trying to be kind with words, but also we gotta go.
We gotta go. Yeah, I felt it, you know, the way your confidence is dropping. But let me just end the show well for you. Maybe Arsenal will win tomorrow, maybe. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwa, and in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, that's the show today. Before we go, I want to thank Jacky Vincent for his time on the show.
Thank you very much. I had to follow up for years, so by God's grace.
All right, that's the show. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything that we've brought to you. Enjoy your weekend. You'll see us again next week. Bye-bye now.